So this is how it ends. Not with a press conference from a front office, not with a carefully worded statement released to the media, but with Caitlin Clark stepping up to the microphone and dropping a basketball bombshell that shook the entire WNBA in a moment that instantly froze time for Indiana Fever fans. Clark didn't just speak as a rookie. She stood there as a generational force, delivering a kind of announcement that could redefine not only her franchise, but the very fabric of women's basketball itself. It was bold, it was seismic, and it came from the last person anyone expected. People expected her to talk about the playoffs, or maybe another sponsorship. Instead, she unveiled something no one could have predicted. Caitlin Clark revealed that Larry Bird, the Indiana basketball god, the legend of French Lick, the Celtics Hall of Famer, was stepping in, replacing Stephanie White. Just saying those words out loud feels surreal. Stephanie White, out. Larry Bird, in. It's the kind of move that sounds too crazy to be true until Clark confirms it herself. The silence in the room was deafening. You could feel it, the confusion, the excitement, the disbelief. One moment, fans were celebrating the Fever's rise. The next, they were witnessing history. Because no matter how you feel about this move, one thing is undeniable. Nothing will ever be the same for the Indiana Fever. Larry Bird's entrance is a line in the sand. It's before Bird and after Bird. Now, let's rewind for a second. Stephanie White wasn't just a name on a roster. She was a respected leader, a steady presence. Hired in early 2024, she was brought in to guide a rebuilding franchise that had struggled for years. And under her, the Fever found a pulse. With Clark's arrival, they surged into relevance, clawed their way toward the playoffs, and turned Gainbridge Fieldhouse into one of the most electric arenas in professional basketball. White managed egos, shaped rotations, and did her job. But in sports, sometimes doing your job isn't enough, especially when you're standing in the shadow of a phenomenon like Caitlin Clark. Because when Clark joined the league, she didn't just change the game on the court, she changed everything around it. She was more than a rookie. She was an economic engine, a marketing tsunami, a ratings magnet, and yes, a decision maker. As the Fever's commercial and cultural profile exploded, so did the expectations. Suddenly, the bar wasn't just improvement, it was domination. And that kind of pressure creates rifts, not public, not scandalous, but behind the scenes, quiet tension was building. The front office wanted to maximize Clark's impact. Sponsors wanted the team in the finals. Fans demanded a dynasty. And the question lingered in every boardroom meeting. Was Stephanie White the right person to lead this revolution? Behind closed doors, those whispers grew louder. Legal experts say coaching changes in pro sports rarely come down to wins and losses. It's about direction, vision, alignment. Clark had a vision, and from what insiders say, it didn't perfectly align with White's. No fights, no betrayals, just a philosophical fork in the road. And when that happens, the franchise is a choice. Stick with tradition or gamble on a legacy. That's when Larry Bird's name entered the conversation. At first, it sounded like fantasy. Bird, the Celtics icon, the Pacers legend, but the more you looked, the more it made sense. Bird isn't just a retired superstar. He's a winner, a coach, an executive, a basketball oracle, and most importantly, he's Indiana. His blood runs Hoosier red. His name is basketball royalty in this state. If you're going to make a statement, you don't get louder than Larry Bird. Bird's track record is bulletproof. 3 NBA titles, 3 MVPs, 12 All-Star appearances, and when he coached the Pacers, he led them to back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals. As an executive, he built contenders. His resume isn't just impressive, it's sacred. But what makes this move groundbreaking isn't just who Bird is, it's what it means for women's basketball. Because never before has a legend from the men's game crossed over like this. Not at this level, not with this fanfare, not in the WNBA. Larry Bird isn't dipping his toe in the water. He's cannonballing into a new era. And by doing so, he's sending a message to the world. Women's basketball is a sideshow. It's the main event, and it deserves the same level of strategy, leadership, and spotlight. Now, let's talk about why Bird said yes. Sources say he had multiple offers from NBA organizations over the years. Coaching gigs, executive roles, but he turned them down. Retired life was good. He was enjoying peace. Then Caitlin Clark happened, and suddenly something changed. Bird saw her play. He saw her spark. He saw in her the same fire he once had, the kind that could lift an entire sport. Insiders believe Clark and Bird met privately before the announcement. No media, no leaks, just two basketball minds talking legacy, vision, and the future of the game. Clark wanted someone who understood the weight of leadership. Bird wanted someone worth mentoring. It wasn't about ego. It was about evolution. And when they shook hands, the WNBA's future tilted on its axis. Clark's influence in this decision cannot be overstated. Her arrival turned the Fever from an afterthought to a cash cow. Ticket sales up 400%, sponsorships flooding in, national broadcasts, social media hysteria. When she speaks, the front office listens. And when she recommended Bird, it wasn't suggestion, it was a blueprint. Of course, some critics will call this a risk. Bird's never coached women before. The WNBA is a different world, different dynamics, different personalities, different challenges. But those close to him say he studied the game. He respects the culture. He's not coming in to impose. He's coming to collaborate, to elevate, and to learn. And that's what makes this so powerful. It's not just a stunt. It's a partnership. Bird brings the mind. Clark brings the movement. Together, they're building something that could transcend the league. Think about it. A coaching legend mentoring the most iconic rookie of her generation. It's not just basketball, it's mythology. This move could trigger a domino effect across the WNBA. Other franchises will feel the pressure to compete, not just on the court, but in the front office. Big name hires, bold moves. Suddenly, the league isn't just about game nights. It's about strategy wars, legacy clashes, and media takeovers. If Bird can do it, who's next? Magic Johnson? Dawn Staley returning? The door has swung wide open. And let's not forget the fans. Gamebridge Fieldhouse is already sold out for months. But now, it'll be standing room only. Jerseys will fly off shelves. National networks will clamor for broadcast rights. This isn't just a team change. It's a cultural moment. Bird's arrival could double the league's viewership overnight, because love him or hate him, when Larry Bird speaks, the world listens. The ripple effect of this announcement didn't stop at Indiana state lines. Within hours of Caitlin Clark's declaration, social media exploded. Larry Bird, the WNBA, trended worldwide. Sports networks cleared their primetime slots to cover the news. Analysts scrambled to weigh in. Players from across the league reacted in real time. Some in awe, others in disbelief. Fans, meanwhile, couldn't process it fast enough. This wasn't just a headline. It was a moment that shattered the glass ceiling in sports. The kind that only comes once in a generation. And at the center of it all, a rookie with enough pull to summon a basketball demigod. Clark's words echoed across every major sports outlet. We're not just playing the game, we're redefining it. She said it with poise, with clarity, with power. This wasn't about replacing a coach. This was about ushering in a new era. One that didn't wait for approval from the old guard. One that demanded attention, respect, and resources now. Her tone didn't waver. Her presence didn't flinch. And Larry Bird, watching from the wings, gave the kind of approving nod that said, "This is what greatness looks like." Let's not forget what's really happening here. For decades, the WNBA fought for recognition, for parity, for support. Coaches came and went. Stars rose and fell. But the game itself, it kept climbing uphill. Then Caitlin Clark arrived and turned that hill into a launch pad. And now, Larry Bird is riding that trajectory right alongside her. For the first time in WNBA history, a legend from the men's game isn't just endorsing the league. He's becoming part of it. That speaks volumes. It changes everything. Skeptics will argue that Bird lacks the experience. That coaching women requires a different kind of finesse. That this is a publicity stunt. But those same skeptics said Clark couldn't dominate in her rookie year. They said the Fever weren't ready for prime time. They said women's basketball couldn't sell out NBA arenas. And every single time, they were proven wrong. So now, the skeptics are running out of room to doubt, because the numbers, the ratings, the energy, none of it lies. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, the Fever's front office is operating like a Fortune 500 company. This isn't just a team, it's a brand in hyper-growth mode. They're securing new partnerships, investing in media coverage, ramping up merchandise pipelines, and expanding their fan engagement strategies. Clark's decision wasn't just a personnel request. It was a business masterstroke. Bringing in Bird doesn't just elevate the court, it elevates the boardroom. And that's exactly what the Fever need if they're going to sustain this momentum. From a legacy standpoint, Bird's return to coaching was never expected. He'd done it all: championships, MVPs, Executive of the Year. He didn't need this, but that's what makes it powerful. He chose this. He chose the WNBA. He chose to step into a space where he could make a real difference, not just in wins, but in history. And when someone with his resume chooses to align with your mission, it validates everything you're fighting for. Clark, for a part, has never looked more in control. In just one season, she's gone from college phenom to pro icon to power broker. She's not just making plays, she's making moves, and the league is adjusting in real time. This isn't just player empowerment, it's player evolution. She's doing things most rookies wouldn't dare attempt. And yet, she's doing them with grace, precision, and the kind of maturity that makes you wonder if we're witnessing the birth of not just a star, but a future owner, commissioner, or cultural titan. The rest of the WNBA is on alert. Coaches are reviewing film with new urgency. GMs are making calls. Agents are circling. Why? Because this move raises the bar. If the Fever can attract Larry Bird, what's stopping other teams from landing legendary coaches? From elevating their infrastructure? From transforming the way they approach everything? From scouting to media to community outreach? The Bird-Clark era isn't just a moment, it's a model. Let's also talk about the locker room. Bird isn't stepping into a vacuum. The Fever have a roster full of hungry, talented players, many of whom came into the season expecting a different trajectory. Integrating a coach of Bird's stature requires finesse, communication, and trust. But insiders say Bird has already started reaching out. Private phone calls, individual meetings, not just to assert authority, but to build relationships. He knows he's walking into a team with rhythm, and his goal isn't to disrupt, it's to amplify. And what about the league itself? The WNBA stands to benefit enormously from this crossover. Media coverage will explode. Ticket sales will surge. And for the first time, casual NBA fans who never gave women's basketball a second look are going to tune in, not because they suddenly respect it, but because Bird's presence forces them to. That's the power of recognition. That's the power of legitimacy. And the WNBA just got a dose of it stronger than it's ever seen before. There's also a long-term game at play here. Bird isn't coming in for a few cameos in press conferences. He's reportedly working on a multi-year vision, one that involves player development pipelines, advanced analytics, and even international scouting. He wants to build something sustainable, something elite, something that outlasts both him and Clark. And that's the kind of ambition that can reshape an entire league. Let's not sugarcoat it. This is going to be hard. There will be growing pains. There will be critics. There will be bad games, weird rotations, awkward media moments. But that's the price of disruption. The only thing worse than friction is stagnation. And the Fever? They're anything but stagnant now. They're volatile. They're unpredictable. They're dangerous in the best possible way. What's happening in Indiana isn't just about basketball. It's about culture. It's about leadership. It's about rewriting the rules. Clark and Bird aren't following a blueprint. They're drawing one, together, in real time. And every practice, every timeout, every post-game presser is going to be dissected like gospel. Because when two icons link up like this, the stakes are always higher. So what comes next? Expect more headlines. Expect other teams to follow suit. Expect the WNBA to lean into this moment with everything it's got. This is a time to go all in, to invest in visibility, to expand the brand, to take risks. Because what Clark and Bird have just done, it cracked open a door that had been sealed shut for decades. And now, the floodgates are coming. This season is no longer just about wins and losses. It's about transformation, about momentum, about legacy. And no matter what happens from here, one thing is already clear. Caitlin Clark and Larry Bird didn't just shake up the league, they may have just saved it. The WNBA has entered a new era, one where player empowerment meets executive firepower, where legacy hires are no longer limited by gender lines, where women's sports aren't an afterthought. They're the future. And it all began with one press conference, one player, One coach, one state, Indiana. Caitlin Clark didn't just deliver an announcement. She made a declaration. She's not here to be part of history. She's here to write it. And with Larry Bird by her side, the pen just got a whole lot bolder. The rest of the league better buckle up, because the Indiana Fever, they're not just chasing a title, they're chasing destiny. If you're still watching and picking your jaw up off the floor like the rest of the US, don't forget to hit that like button. It helps push this story to more fans who need to know what's going down in Indiana. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Larry Bird can really shake up the WNBA the way he did the NBA? And if you're not already subscribed, what are you waiting for? Smash that subscribe button and ring the bell, because this is just the beginning. The Fever just changed the game, and you do not want to miss what happens next.